we're back.
Robert is volunteered to eat another bit of toxic waste along with a handful of cheddar Chex Mix at the same time. And
I call it simul eating.
While he
He
does
must have been
that,
great to have around in the dorms, Robert.
totally.
Hey, Robert, will you eat this piece of shit?
Okay. While he's doing that,
I have an experimental palate.
Yeah.
So Richie Churchill again gave us the toxic waste. I got some. There's more stuff that I've been trying to get the rest of you to try, but you're all afraid to. Ryan, I tried to get you to try some stuff from GR Remco from the Netherlands. He sent us some awesome. There's something Das Wagens or something. It's like school buses that are like 3 layers of licorice and gummy. And
That sounds good.
they're really good.
I like school buses.
Both of the things, and then he sent something else. I forget what it's called. I have them upstairs, like the brain something, and they're both like really good. So
Should I eat this?
I'm just nervous about trying anything that you like specifically give me.
It's like clicking on your links.
Like I'll go through your collection and I'll select something, but when
Go
you're like,
ahead,
"Hey,
Rob.
try this," that's
Okay,
usually
so
a
Robert's
warning
gonna
sign.
Wait, this is toxic waste.
Yeah, he's just the background for us. So Robert James from Belfast, Northern Ireland, hooked us up with some great stuff. He's also known as Drunk Messiah on OneUp.com. Thank you. Nason gave us the mother load of stuff. I mean, so generous. Keep eating, Robert. You're just
Robert's liking it.
This is a duet. So thanks again, Nason. That was like super cool of you. Then from Hawaii, from the Big Island on Hilo, from Kazumi Takamasa, we got some really good cookies with chocolate on them.
Oh, was that fancy gold box?
Yeah.
And that was nice.
Oh,
looking.
damn. I
That
didn't
was
get that.
that was super good as well. So hopefully I didn't miss anyone. I have some other. Actually, here's another one right here.
I'm going to miss this, man. The free candy.
Oh, wait, no, I got all the ones that I got for
Shit.
here. So thanks
Why'd I
again
quit?
for your generosity. And Anthony, give us some music. You weren't supposed to be eating. You're supposed to be giving us some music.
Bienvenidos a GFW Radio. Viva la Brodeo. ¿Dónde están?
Oh, my God. We're losing control here.
All right.
While we're doing thanks.
I also got like a. Oh, you go ahead and give
Well,
yours.
I got to thank. I want to personal thanks to Terry Scooter Nguyen, OneUp.com, my former coworker at Computer Gaming World back in the old days, because he gave me a very generous lovely parting gift for my time here. He gave me a 50th anniversary edition of The Lord of the Rings. And here, I brought it down here. See this leather-bound volume?
That's pretty
Isn't
rad.
that nice?
Yeah.
Very nice present. And but I brought down the description of what's in it. Finest edition ever offered, according to them. But anyway, there was this one particular item. I wanted to know if this meant anything to any of you. Color insert showing leaves from the Book of Mazarbul. Well, does that mean anything to you?
No, but even my geek ass is laughing at that.
Whoa. Whoa, that's a fancy book.
You see what I'm talking
It's
about? It's like
gold
That's
gold
that's
leaf.
like
That's
Bible
nicer
fancy.
than a Bible, yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like a Bible.
It's like the nerd Bible.
It kind of is.
It's not
It's like the Bible because it is the Bible. Anyway, so thanks, Scooter.
Very nice.
Very nice of you.
And yet you were upset about your religious spore civilization.
What? This is different.
No, but he doesn't worship a deity. He worships a fantasy franchise.
Exactly. It's different.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, get your grubby fingers off it, Ryan.
That's
what?
what it
My
comes
fingers
down
aren't
to.
dirty.
Every page.
What used to be a book is now a
was looking for
fantasy
pictures. You're
franchise.
You're soiling my book. Okay, let's move on.
But I wanted to also say thanks to all the people I met at PAX. It was now a couple weeks ago. But
I heard you were kind of Jesus-like there while we're on this topic. I thought I heard you could just kind of put your hands out and people would touch them.
there's the whole, like, when people would ask, like, so what's it like being a pseudo-celebrity? And it's like, for one, I have to
fucking
make up
weirdos
the
like
answer
you.
as I go, because that's a fucking weird question to answer. You know? And also, like, I mean, yeah, it's like, well, I guess it's what it would be like to be a star of, you know, like the Real World or something, except if you weren't, you're only like, you know, 1/1000th of their, you know, notoriety or whatever. But yeah, people there were super cool. They had, a lot of them came bearing gifts too, so I would feel guilty walking away at times. I'd just have like stuff coming out of my bag, out of my my shoulder bag.
Very flattering.
Some
don't you
good
think?
stuff from Davin Lowe from Korea, like banana chips. I didn't get to share it. I ate it all when I was there, but like it's like basically it was like packing foam, packing peanuts, but they tasted like banana. and then some other.
That sounds great.
And I didn't. Oh, it's upstairs. Someone from Australia. I should have brought his thing. He gave me a kangaroo nutsack.
What?
It's like it's basically the bow sack of a kangaroo that you can put change in or something. And at first I was like, okay, I'm cool with this because there's no way this is really a kangaroo nutsack. And the reason the reason I care about that is like I don't want kangaroos getting killed for their scrot. Like,
But then you realize that
That's
kangaroos
probably a byproduct.
were killed for more than just their scrot.
Right.
There are various novelty products made out of kangaroos.
and that novelty products being made out of kangaroos doesn't make
Yeah.
me feel too good either.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the sentiment, and I now am the owner of a kangaroo nutsack, and I can put
Are you
whatever I
putting your
want.
change in there?
I've been putting weed in it pretty much.
Is it big enough to put your nuts in it?
No, dude. What? Dude,
What kind of question is that?
I mean, Robert,
Because then you could have like
take
a
your
kangaroo.
glasses off, dude, and let's figure this out. Like, you're at home, like, I wonder would my nuts fit in this nut? We were also last night at dinner. I was talking about the size of testes in male mammals, and you guys thought, you and your wife and Tina and, well, Anthony, you believe me, but you thought I was making this stuff up as I went. That I seem to know so much about sexual morphology and dimorphism.
Well, don't you remember Robert's totally like non-glasses moment when you were talking about that fish that like slowly attaches to the female, and, then the fish.
Okay,
and then-
let's build it right back up
All right.
there. We can, because we have two people here, Jeff and Ryan, that weren't aware of it. So what I was talking about with balls is that generally the larger mammal's testicles are, the more like, how do you say it? Like, it's not just the more sexual partners that he has, because in the case, but like outside of a circumstance like a harem. So for example, if a male gorilla has exclusive access to a set of females, the male gorillas also have minuscule genitals compared to other primates, humans, chimpanzees, bonobos. And this is because it's like if they're having intercourse with one of the females in their harem, they have no worry that they're going to be cuckolded, or that because some other gorilla would have had to beat him in a fight, and he would have caught him, and they would have fought until he chased him off or killed him. Whereas in animals that just spreading their seed all over the place, there's a great likelihood that the female had already just had intercourse, maybe even an hour or minutes before, so it's basically like a war for the biggest load. And but
An arms race, if you will.
And then I kind of comment on the side that humans are actually fairly large among primates, which indicates that we're not necessarily as faithful as our society wants to tell us, and this and that. But that aside, there's a special case of a certain deep sea fish. And this happens in a few different types of species, but basically the male is a very, very, very tiny. Females are large, benthic fish, super exotic looking, and the male will attach itself to the female, and then eventually it just becomes part of her body, just absorbs the male. Circulatory system becomes one, and then it's just a living sperm sac that hangs on her. And Robert actually
I was just wondering,
speculated on what this moment of
yeah, because I mean,
combination
you
is
hear
like.
you hear that and you're like, God, that sounds such like a horrible type of sex. But I wonder if for the male fish, the whole grafting you into the female body for however long that takes, if that isn't just like one long moment of like, oh,
For forever.
I'm being grafted into you. Oh, I'm losing myself.
He was doing this at higher volume than that.
in a public restaurant.
It wasn't like a nice restaurant. It was a bar.
It was pretty nice, man.
Yeah.
By Berkeley
It was
standards.
in Berkeley.
By
Come
Berkeley
on.
standards, it was nice.
The other day I was in Berkeley and I said a cuss word and someone with me was like, "What's wrong with your kids around here?" And I'm like, "They're in Berkeley. What the fuck?" Like they've heard all
Did
this.
they not? Did they say this as they were stepping over someone shooting up? Like, fucking downtown Berkeley is like, yeah, they're like, even we come out of the place last night. How many people did we see that were like bedding up for the night and probably getting ready to
saw
like,
that.
slam
I,
an
for
8-ball or,
one. Yeah. I mean, can't deal with the real estate prices around here. I just camp out under a tree, pee in a jar.
I
plug my
Aren't
plasma
we paying you enough
screen
for those
into
articles? Is that how
Yeah,
bad
well-
the freelance rates are at Ziff Davis?
I was thinking.
no comment.
I was thinking, how long have you been with your wife, Robert? Like counting
Since we
when
were
she was a girlfriend.
16.
You got some small balls, I bet.
Oh,
That's why he
fighting
was,
words here on GFW
that's
Radio.
why he was wondering about fitting him into the
Ouch.
Small bald
change purse.
Bobito,
Ouch.
they called him.
So
I'm just
before
kidding.
we have a bunch of
No, you're
questions
not.
Yeah.
for you, Jeff. Since
boy.
you're leaving.
Yep.
And like I want to get to those. I just also want to say thanks again to the people at PAX that said hi. And like there were a lot of people that were super interesting, and I wanted to get to know them. One guy in particular had a really interesting story. He lived in D.C. He got busted for some stuff there, but then basically decided he was going to change his life. He moved out to Vegas and started a program for troubled youth. Super interesting guy, but the problem is that there's so many different people and everyone's asking questions and stuff. It's a really unnatural way to talk to, to try to basically acknowledge everyone, but then follow up, have any kind of follow-up conversation. But so all those people, I hope I didn't seem like a dick or anything.
What was the
And
dumbest
let's-
question you got?
I don't want to pick on anyone. I mean, like there's like the most awkward one, to be honest. Like I was leaving.
Was it? Can you be my big brother?
It was close. It was like
Sean Elliott, can you be my big brother?
it was whether or not my balls could fit inside the. No, it was like just as I was leaving the guy. I'm not even gonna go there. I liked everyone there. Let's go on to questions for you, Jeff.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
How do we want to handle this? I've got like 8,000 of them. I got a lot of questions.
Well, you don't.
need a
You're
moderator.
supposed
Stack
to
of-
pick the best that
I
you
know.
wanted
Well,
to
the
answer.
thing is that
you don't bring in a 50-page
and
tome.
then flip through them on air. So we have not 5 minutes of dead silence.
Is that really the entire
No,
thread?
not that one.
Anthony's gonna have
no,
to
I got
sing
some. I got some
again,
highlighted here, and they do kind of go around a general theme.
I've never
They-
seen GAF
some
printed
of-
out. It's kind
No,
of
this
weird.
isn't GAF. This is OneUp.com.
Oh, okay.
We don't print off gaff.
We don't print off GAF.
Oh.
No, there was a GAF thread too, but the questions are very much sort of a theme. So, I do want to kind of say the same thing Sean just said in a way, which is that there's no way, obviously, I can answer any more than a few of these, and there's like, I don't know, a few hundred of these. So I just want to thank everybody for writing in and asking these questions, and I won't be able to answer them all. I'll try to go online and answer some of these in that thread in writing, so I could get to more of them. But if I didn't answer your question, I apologize. Don't hate me. So a lot of them are why I decided to do this. Did I always want to be a game developer? And this, so this was my secret dream that I'm finally fulfilling. So I think I could probably answer a bunch of those questions kind of all at once if I just sort of, blab for a minute or two and just stop me when it's getting boring. Also, I did blog about this, so a lot of the reasoning why I did this is on the
Give
blog.
me the questions then. I'll find some
All right,
ones
find
that,
some good
that cover
ones.
new territory.
Okay, but just to go over the old territory in general.
Whoa!
Oh, look out there. No, this was not my secret dream to develop for The Sims or to develop games at all. This just felt like the right thing at the right time for me. We've been over how fucking long I've been at Ziff Davis, which is 17 years, which is a long goddamn time to be anywhere. And yes, the end of the magazine did influence this for me. That was, I've said it before, and it's no big secret that, was pretty fucking devastating to me, and it still is. That was very much what my career was about here. So when the magazine closed, I was kind of at a loss. When you think of yourself as a magazine guy and then you don't have a magazine, my career changed at that point. Then I became a web journalist, and it took sort of a little while for me to get my head around that this is what I do for a living now. I'm a guy on a website, and that's fine.
Oh, no.
That's fine if you're ready for it, but I wasn't ready for it. All of a sudden, this was my job, and there's a big difference between being the editor-in-chief of a magazine and a group of us who were together every month putting out this product that we were proud of, and being the editor-in-chief of a door, which is what I was. I was the editor-in-chief of one door of a larger website, and it was a door that we didn't have a whole lot of control over, really. And that was, I think had I hung on, we would have seen some good changes to that page, and I think we still will, or you guys still will get to there. But for me, it was time for me to move on. And in terms of The Sims and that move, That has a lot to do with Rod Humble, actually, who was on our podcast, who I befriended as a result of that podcast. I just thought he was a totally brilliant, smart, funny guy. And, those are the kind of people that we like to be around. And when I started thinking about, well, shit, what am I going to do next? I thought, well, who would I like to work with? And he was right at the top of the list. It wasn't because he's making games and that's what I want to do. It's just because I just was looking at the people who felt like
he could have been a trash
contacts
man,
in my
and
life.
you would have jumped on the back of his
I
truck.
might have. Delivering trash with Rod Humble would be an awesome
Delivering
job.
trash?
Delivering trash. Here's your trash, sir.
It'd be like minute work.
You ordered
too.
3 bags, right? Here's your shit.
You got any more seafood shells?
Smells pretty bad, sir. Enjoy. And picking up trash would have been great with him too. No, but
I have a
Yeah.
question on top of that,
Yes,
which
sir.
is, do you feel like you had to go into development because there's just not anywhere for a guy of your stature in the whole writing about games thing to go?
well,
Like, are there just no options
yeah,
anymore?
I do, and I would take out the of my stature part. I
Well,
mean,
someone who spent 17 years doing it.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the guy that worked at McDonald's for 17 years.
Right. Then what's he gonna do? Go to Arby's? Oh my gosh, shit! Now I'm here. That's
I got turned down to wear the fucking
That's how it
clown
would have been.
costume for 8 years in a row.
yeah. I mean, what do? I walk into IGN and I'm editor-in-chief there, and then day one I got some clown saying like, "We got to get page views up on the PC coverage." I'm just be going, "Fuck! This is what I just got away from." So
Yeah.
I mean, but the truth is that, and I really feel this way, and I'm biased because I spent most of my adult life here. I do feel like for every other thing about that we have problems with, with Ziff Davis and the money and all that, then just in terms of the staff and the content we do, I feel like it for me personally, it is the best. So where would I go that it would be more satisfying just in terms of the people I work with, in terms of, the creative energy? Like I felt like it was going to be a step down if I did the same thing anywhere else. So I really did feel like there was nowhere else for me to go.
Yeah.
I want you to
in
consider
journalism.
this before we go on. That
Yes, sir.
imagine 2 trashmen or what refuge management specialists, to be kinder,
Yeah.
had like a podcast where they
Refuse.
where
You
sorry
said refuge.
sorry refuse
Yeah.
and they
And they had a podcast.
yeah, and they go around and
A
like they're
garbage
just
collecting
breaking shit
podcast.
down. Like they pull up to this house and they just start talking about like the adult diapers that they know they're gonna
That'd
like,
be awesome.
taking on this one, and they talk about this and here's like old man so and so's and his fucking dog's gonna come out, and I wish I could put a plate of broken chicken bones and cyanide out here every fucking day. I pick this shit up and like
That would be a great podcast. This might be a future career choice for me. So game development wasn't the dream, but it's and we hear a lot and we see on message boards like, oh, another guy who just sold out and he's going to do this. Luke Smith did this, Brian Intihar did this, and it's not because I don't think. Well, I don't know if it was the case in with them, but with me, it's just this is the obvious place to go. It's not the place that I was dying to go. It's just that if I want to be in a creative field where I get to write and I get to work on left brain creative projects, well, this is where I have the connections. This is where I know people. If I could go write movies and be in a movie studio, then maybe I'd do that. But this is the one that is available to me, so that's why I'm doing it.
You're settling then.
I'm picturing
No, I'm not settling. I'm very
picturing
happy with
our
my
management deciding that we should have no more podcasts with people that work for video game companies, because it just seems like we're all being headhunted by people that we meet.
Can I take this?
Well, that's another
I can give
question
my
I got
personal
is that
promise that I won't leave
I didn't
for
get
that.
headhunted. I actually contacted Rod Humble. What was that, Sean?
Nothing.
What did you say?
I didn't
What did you
nothing.
say?
I was talking about how it sucks that you're leaving. I'm serious about that. We need to address that, right?
Right.
I guess we should address that. shouldn't we?
I mean, the
Yeah.
Brodeo as we know it is over with you gone. I mean, let's get tender with you right now. Jeff, you're the greatest boss that I've had, and I'm seriously going to miss working with you. The podcast's been fun, but just on a day-to-day basis, and it sucks ass that you're going. I'm happy for you, though, because I think you're doing the right thing, and I can tell that you're excited, and change is good.
Thanks, man.
But
yeah,
but for those of us, we're seriously going to miss you.
I am definitely going to miss being here. I mean, if we were going to just share and care now, you guys have been awesome group of guys to work with. This podcast has been the most fun part of working at Ziff Davis, I have to say.
You've just answered a question on our list.
Well, it is true. And I can say it honestly, especially because we sort of like worked up to this being as fun as it is, right? I mean, we had a lot of growing pains getting to this, and we sort of got pushed into it quite a long while ago. I mean, we've been enjoying it for a while now, but at first it was like, we have to do what? Like, I didn't even know what that word was.
Yeah, it sounded so douchey, a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded like, seriously, like the kind of thing that a douche comes up with. And then they set us down, and they press record. And I remember the whole time I would be like, well, glad someone out there that's not going to want to fucking listen to us has already decided they didn't want to fucking listen to us. Like, it was totally like that.
Yeah,
I know. I remember like when you asked me to come on like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, yeah,
where
you were
I
a
did,
hater too,
and
man.
I was like, yeah, man. Yeah, just whenever. I'll
Yeah,
come
so-
on your podcast.
And it's been great to have people like Anthony come along and add to it in their own way, totally expanding the Brodeo universe.
The song and dance, the hat wearing. Put that hat back on.
That was actually like before I worked at Ziff, long before when I was working a shitty job at a lab. Like GFW Radio was like the one thing I always listened to, and I didn't even have a good PC at the time, and I was one of those people that posted on the boards like, I don't even play PC games, but I listen to it, and you.
And now he
like-
has a job and a PC.
And,
Listen to
and now-
GFW Radio.
and thank
You too can be like Anthony Gallegos.
That was something that was cool also to hear PAX. So many people were of that set. Like, I wasn't a PC gamer. I am now. I mean, we heard
Yeah.
that so much, but that was like when you have someone tell it to your face, it's like it made it really like shit.
Yep.
People actually. I mean,
We do
shit,
get that a lot,
how much
yeah.
better if it could have been like we convinced someone to recycle or something like worthwhile, you know? But it was still cool that
We could have done GFW Cure AIDS
Or-
podcast, but instead we did GFW
not
PC
necessarily
games.
the people I talked to there, but people at PAX though. I would have rather that before they became PC gamers, I'd rather they learn to wash their fucking hands after they go to the bathroom. Because the entire time I was there, I swear I saw no one leave that place and stop at that sink. And I know it's nothing but like kiosks and hands-on and stuff there. And I did get sick when I was at PAX.
So you're saying you were getting stink palmed the whole time?
And it could be like Howard Hughes shit, you know, where I'm saying like, oh, dude, it's because those people didn't wash their hands. But like, I think it's because those people didn't wash their hands.
Right. Yeah, but you know what? You don't have to leave the building for that because
Yeah, we got
I got to
plenty
say,
of
I
that
am
here.
not going to miss the half inch of urine by the urinals. It's there every day from people fucking missing.
Every day.
Well, it's that.
I don't know how you miss that
It's
bad.
that, and sometimes the
You-
urinal
you
just
miss-
randomly-
Guys just spraying on the floor.
You know how you miss? You're looking at your motherfucking iPhone while you pee. God damn it. If I see another person looking at their iPhone in an inappropriate situation, I'm going to punch somebody.
We
Yeah.
need what they have. They started testing in some European country, maybe Germany, but they etch a fly into the urinal. And what happens is they tested and they found that there's like almost no more spray over because every guy tries to piss the fly down into the drain.
What about that game? There was a urinal like game that
That
people were
was,
selling
yeah.
to bars where you would
Yep.
like drive a car by peeing in like certain directions in the
Yeah, but that could fail because that's kind of like someone. I'm not.
I was trying to make a
Someone-
sharp turn. I'm sorry.
No, but someone who's like insecure.
That's
could
my
be
leg,
like,
asshole.
This is gay. Watch this. And then they're like they'll just deliberately crash. Like, oh look, I crashed. Like they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like someone who would just be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not going to miss that. But I am going to miss you guys, and I'm going to miss the listeners a lot. And again, my inbox is overflowing. I can't possibly answer everybody who wrote me, but I'm really, truly grateful and honored to get that kind of reception. It kind of blows me away. I blogged about this too. It's a very surreal feeling. I think all of us in this room have felt that at times when you get that kind of mail and you're just doing your job, you know, which is what I've been doing. And so I feel very lucky to get this kind of response on my leaving, and certainly didn't ever expect to be here this long. But I guess after a while, you just sort of are.
Well, I just want to say, as a reader, I think the thing that's going to suck is that for me, I really enjoyed reading the perspective of someone who was older. I'm not a young man myself. I'm married. It was nice to read someone who has a family, who obviously like is good to their family. You got a daughter, she sounds cool, smart, and yet you still play games and you're, a decent guy and you're not like, a total fuckwit or something. I like to it was nice to read the perspective of someone who had grown up with games and was still doing it, and it wasn't, going out the window, and I don't think there's much of that around. So
I did sort of like I realized as I hung on longer and longer and the age gap started getting wider, I sort of realized like, oh wow, all of a sudden I have become kind of like what Johnny Wilson was when I started, which was like the older dude who's sort of representing, and that was, that's my lesson to you, young men.
But you
can game
bitter.
and have your family.
You never became the one that was like, things used to be so much better and different. I mean, there was never a time.
Right.
When...
Well, I honestly don't feel that way. I feel mostly like we're living in the best of times. I mean, I do.
When it comes to gaming.
When it comes to gaming, when it comes to the internet, I mean, it's fucking unbelievable the advantages that people have now for the things they can do.
Here's a question that ties into that from Doomba Servbot, and that basically, what are the major changes in the industry that you experienced over those 17 years in your career?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to outline them all.
Right,
Just pick one that you think is significant.
I'll 3D. I'll do it in terms of everything's in color now. Well, I'd say it's certainly in terms of PC gaming, it's the commercialization of it and the mass popularity of it. I mean, when I started, PC gaming was really just kind of coming out of a much more hobbyist kind of mentality. I mean, and before I started at CGW, it was very much this was the geeky, nerdy hobby that we did as geeks and nerds, and there wasn't even sort of a pretense at that time that this was going to be something that was going to be embraced by mainstream media. We wouldn't have ever fathomed that there'd be a game like The Sims or World of Warcraft or ever that millions of people were playing. We knew this was like our thing. We're dorks, and we're going to play these gold box RPG games because we're dorks. And so that was kind of our thing. And as it related to our job in the press, what that meant was, we were a sort of group of hobbyists writing to ourselves, and we only had to please ourselves. And because there was no internet, we were all there were for everybody else too. So we sort of owned that space. That was kind of the amazing thing back then. It's like you really felt like, okay, we're like the magazine of authority on this.
I know something
hobby.
I won't tell. I won't tell. I won't.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was the gaming industry.
Yeah, exactly. And then the increasing popularity of PC gaming and gaming in general, which of course is a great thing. We want them to succeed. We want the game companies to succeed. And I think it's what we're seeing to this day, not just in PC gaming, but across the board. I think it's why we're seeing magazines fold, is that the game companies are getting so popular and gaming is getting so popular that they don't need a niche media anymore. They don't need hobbyist pubs because they've got Entertainment Weekly. They don't need a 300,000 circulation magazine because they've got a 5 million circulation magazine. So in some ways, the success of gaming, I feel, is kind of killing the gaming media. I don't mean that in a total gloom and doom way, like it's going to go away anytime in the near future at all. I don't think it is. And I think that there's plenty of things that
I hope
the gaming media
blogs change. But then, I mean, that's like a two-part thing, right? I mean, there's the people that have to embrace, both demand and embrace it, and it's like if I mean, we always say about this, it's pressuring you. Like if you can't create your content based on the fact that you were the first to see it and constantly reminding people again and again that you were the first to see it, you have to do something different. But then people have to buy that something different, so it goes back and forth.
That's right.
You'll hear people say, well, we don't want to do it because, well, like look at Edge, they have so few subscribers, and it's like, really, I mean, if people really did want it, they don't. I mean, maybe not everyone knows how to get that magazine or things that are like it. But
my advice would be, and we've talked about this amongst ourselves, is that what you want to do then is you want to like drill down and go back to that what it was back then in 1992. You want to just talk to the people who actually want to spend money on a gaming magazine. You don't fuck around. You actually just be serious about it. Cinema has film comment and other magazines. Doesn't mean that a gaming magazine has to be hardcore serious, but that you just say, okay, we can't compete with Time Magazine when they put Spore on the cover. We can't compete with Entertainment Weekly, but we can talk to the 300,000 dudes who are so nerdy they would spend $7 on a gaming magazine every month. Like, talk to those people. Don't pretend that you're a mainstream magazine. Just like be hardcore about the hobby, and really go in depth on the articles, which is what I thought we were doing at the end of GFW magazine, which is why I was so frustrated when it got closed. Because I felt like our whole strategy was. I'm fucking lecturing.
Well,
I'm sort of
someone
cranky old man
listening
now.
is going to say, well, that's why GFW closed, because people didn't want that. But, I mean, we don't think that's the case.
Well, I don't think that's the
before.
case. Right.
And it wasn't that the magazine was closed down because there weren't enough subscribers, I mean,
Look, GFW had a strong subscriber base, and the reasons it closed had much more to do with the state of Ziff Davis's finances than it did
and
with
ad
the state of
sales
GFW.
I
and
mean,
all
there's
that.
other parties involved too, right? If you're buying ads
That's
in
right.
it, I mean, you want to be convinced. I mean, you have your own notion. Everyone's got these different ideas, and it's good now and then to see someone. I'm going to name check. I talked to Ryan Jones. He works at PR, does PR for 2K and Take Two, and he was really honest about saying. Just like, yeah, we don't know everything. I mean, even on their side, I mean, they're trying to figure out what do people want? What's the best way to reach people? I mean, how many different types of people are there to reach and stuff like.
I definitely think there's a place for the gaming media, and I think that this side again is like the one that's onto something really well. I think the guys at Games Videos are amazing in terms of like the one-up show and the kind of content that you're just not going to see elsewhere, because what they're doing is they're creating something that's coming from their own brains. They're not just like shoveling out screenshots or whatever. I think that's what we need. That's what how the gaming press is going to succeed in the long haul.
And the thing that I would love to see, which I mean I see like cropping up around the Brodeo, which is so impressive to me, is just cultivating like a sense of community and scene.
Yeah.
Like this is like a certain kind of subculture, and like welcome to the club, and we want to talk about this stuff, and we want to hang out with you guys and like, meet people that are interested in things like this.
I think that's what I'm sort of getting at. That's what it was like back in the old days of CGW. It felt like here we're in an extended meeting of a club here. And I think that's when it works best here as well. So.
On that the club note, I put up on my Twitter today, someone, do you remember his name? Someone did a painting of Yaddle.
I apologize.
Milking herself.
No way.
Yeah.
Way.
Wow.
No way.
Fuck you.
That's one of those.
I can't help it.
No, I'm totally the same. Everyone says
It definitely is a painting you have to look at like for like 10 seconds before your brain registers what's going on.
I'm getting
and then
back
when
at
it does, you're just like, oh.
You can never unsee it.
Is the milk green?
No, it's
No,
white.
It's white.
It says glop, glop.
Nasty.
Normal
You got any more
lactose.
questions for me?
Yeah, I'm going to go through these. But also, Robert, I guess I'm getting back to you because you always said that I remind you of Spicoli, and then also Tina started asking you recently, like, if I'm high every single day. I brought that up before, though. So
Did you tell her that you are?
that's the only correct response to that. It's like if someone
I'm
asks if you're
so
gay,
ripped.
like, the only thing is just to you're like not just gay, you're like the gayest person they've ever encountered. So if she thinks I'm high, I'm like, I'm fucking ripped out my mind.
You're just like, what? What did you say? Toxic.
What are you going to miss, Jeff? What are you going to miss most about being on the press side, and what are you looking forward to most about being on the development side?
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
That comes from Complex, the chimney sweep with the heart. Actually, he's not the chimney sweep with the heart of gold. That's our random tag. So it's Complex.
Let's see. I'm going to miss total access to all games. I'll be honest about that. I mean, let's face it. We get fucking everything. I've been playing. I actually beat already. I beat Peggle Knights, the sequel to Peggle. It's not out yet. So
When
that's
did
a
you
nice,
get this shit?
Yeah, see, you didn't even know about it.
Is
and
it
I
on
beat
Steam?
You of all the why didn't you let us know you had
because
this?
it wasn't a transferable code. I tried to share it.
You were just sitting in your office hoarding that?
It's on my blog. I said in between packing, I'm playing Peggle Knights. It's not like I was hiding it. I publicly said I was playing.
I want to play.
Okay, so see, this is an example. But I mean, we were in a very privileged position. I mean, let's face it. If you're a gamer, what better place is there to be than in a place where people are asking you to play their games all day, every day? We had an amazing you have an amazing job in that way to have all that. And to get that kind of overview, not strictly from the selfish, I get to play this game now, but also just watching everything being made and watching everything develop over time, and actually sometimes even getting to have input on what's happening is such a cool thing. I'm very much going to miss that.
And now you're trading it for the ability to access a coffee machine, which can make 10,000 different kinds of coffee, and like a snack room filled with candies
exactly.
and energy
That's
drinks.
a nice, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
the
nice
EA campus
to
is
work
nice.
at that you're
Yeah. I mean, and to answer that question seriously, on the other side, I'm just most looking forward to just being involved. Respect, yeah. I'm looking forward to the new, to just actually getting to do something. I'm going to walk in that first day and not have any fucking clue. I won't even know where the bathroom is. Like, how awesome is that for a guy who's been like a fucking fixture for almost 2 decades?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be the new guy, and I have a lot to learn, and that part really excites me.
You're going to have crazy dreams now, though. Like, you're going to go to work the first day, and the whole night you're going to like be waking up in the middle of the night dreaming about work and all the things you're thinking about.
I'm already anticipating somewhere around the second or third day I'm going to have some kind of breakdown, and I'm going to be sitting in my cube or office or whatever, wherever I'm sitting. I don't know what it is. Calling my wife, going, I don't know why I did this. I can't do it. I already know.
You should call into the Brodeo. Hey, guys,
I should. A live call.
Can you come pick me up?
Yeah. Please let me come back.
Do you happen to have a...
I didn't know how good I had it here.
That's something a lot of people...
I could get more page views.
What? A lot of people want to know if you're going to be able to do podcasts and stuff now and then.
Well, I think so. I mean, I want to.
Have
I guess
you talked to your new employer?
I'm hesitating because of that, yes.
Then you
I don't know
know
if EA is going to let me or not, so we'll have to see. They let Rod Humble.
They got something better for you. I'll say this. Someone I know that works at EA LA, when he drives to work, he brings a bag of his dirty laundry, and when the car lot attendant parks his car, they take his laundry. When he gets done for the day, he's got a bag of fresh laundry.
Oh my God.
I don't know if they do that where I'm going. I didn't see anything about laundry service. I know there's a full gym I can join for free.
Wow.
And like
it seems like a pretty nice place. The people I know that work
sometimes
there,
they have Cokes
really
in the
nice
machine as if you
should
got to pay for them.
Oh, there's
You should just
25-cent
go
Coke machines at EA. I know that. That's pretty good.
Your first day, you should just go in with a big bucket of laundry and just leave it at the receptionist's desk and see what she says.
Or
Here's my laundry.
My boss's desk. Yeah.
If anybody calls, I'm doing yoga.
Yeah. I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to actually having to work all day, you know, as opposed to just sitting there. Or maybe I could try that strategy at EA, just put my feet up on the desk. Well, this is awesome. Who wants to play Peggle?
That's how you get into management.
Your future boss is probably going to listen to this podcast.
What the fuck did I do?
Wait, are you going to work for Rod Humble?
Not directly. I don't know if anybody
see him?
works for him.
Do your new
yeah,
bosses?
I will see him.
If you see him, will you ask him if he knows that his name is pseudonymous for small cock?
You mean synonymous?
Dude, that's fucking rude.
What do you say?
No,
Humble Rod.
Oh,
it's like the guy told you
Rod
his
Humble.
last name was
Every time I hear
N-O-N-2.
that guy's name, the first thing that pops into my mind is small dick. Rod Humble.
That's terrible.
You make
No,
okay.
I mean it's like
All right.
I just
What
want
are we
to know
going to
if
say to
This
this man?
podcast not endorsed by Jeff Green, now member of Sim's team with supervisor Rod Humble. You fucking moron, Robert Ashley. I'm sorry, Rod, Mr. Humble, sir. He didn't call you a small
it jokingly
penis.
and lovingly. I interviewed that guy once. He was nice.
Do your new bosses know that there have been occasions when you've had to be taped into your office to finish stories?
They don't know about my lack of deadline making, and we won't talk about it here in public.
Oh, okay.
They'll find out soon enough.
You didn't have one of those annoying interviews where they're like, so are you the type of person who turns in your work a day before or the day of your deadline?
No, they were very nice interviews,
of.
and they probably should have asked me those kind of questions, but
Yeah.
they'll find out soon enough.
Quick fire questions, Jeff.
Yes,
What's
sir.
your favorite Velvet Underground album?
Probably Loaded, which I know isn't really the most politically correct answer, but it's mine.
Okay.
Or the first
Great
one,
album.
Velvet Underground and Nico.
Favorite Bob Dylan album?
I'm going to go with John Wesley Harding.
Wow.
Blonde on Blonde, close second.
Okay. And
Nice.
your favorite album by Bruce Springfield?
Springfield?
That's because of an old.
The old, okay, Darkness on Digitown.
That's an inside joke for old-time GFW listeners.
So old, I don't even remember.
I don't know.
You don't remember? I was like, I said it.
Was that?
I somehow.
Oh, you mix up.
Yeah.
Dusty Springs.
Or what?
Dusty
what was Buffalo
Springfield.
Springfield with Bruce Springsteen? I don't know. Something happened like
and it was that
though.
other guy. Some other guy had a name like that. Well, whatever.
I don't
Move
know.
on.
All right. Well, I'm still getting some. I'm going based on the ones that you highlighted. I'm assuming those are the ones that you felt comfortable.
They were all good questions.
Someone, you had a couple requests for one last angry rant. Is there anything you can get worked up about all of a sudden?
Oh, God.
Other than
Don't get me started. Yeah, I need to not burn any bridges here. I'm leaving just fine. I'm leaving just fine.
you don't.
I got out before they threw me out. That was my goal. I beat him.
Yeah.
So there you go.
What has happened
So
to-
ha ha.
Care to
There's my-
define
No, I don't want to.
Who are
No. Let me
Okay.
just say that when you quit a job and the first thing you find out is they are not replacing you, then your suspicions that your position was probably superfluous are probably correct. So I'm thinking I got out just in time.
That job was just made for you.
Well, and to some extent, it probably was,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they didn't want to lay us off after the magazine closed, which was very kind of them. Of course, had they laid me off, I would have had some pretty nice severance and some nice long days at the beach, but that's a different story. But, yeah,
Yeah.
they made these positions for us, and I don't know how necessary they all were.
This is a chance to pimp your blog. 'Cause someone asked if you'll still post on OneUp, and then they also want to know what are your favorite moments from the Brodeo.
Oh, God. Favorite moments? That one podcast we had a little while ago where we were all in hysterics for forever was just
Yaddle?
an awesome podcast. Was that the Yaddle podcast? That was probably the best
That
one.
was recently. Robert got us with his
Yaddle,
steporized
Yeah.
a tale from a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and my
It was a
I
good-
am gonna still blog. I started a new blog. I've already posted twice. I made myself do it right away so that I wouldn't procrastinate on it. So it's up at it's like Jeff-Greenspeak at blogspot.com, and if that's too hard to remember, on the OneUp blog I have a link to that. So I am still gonna be blogging. I'm not gonna be blogging for OneUp because I don't work for OneUp anymore. I don't have to get them clicks anymore. So there you go.
You could do a Sims
Zing.
developer blog.
I'm done with that. And also, it's just not right. I mean, they'd have to take me out of the editor blog space, and then I go into the general pool. I might as well just
And
start fresh.
you don't have tits, so you won't get clicked down there.
Exactly.
Can I point out that though Anthony, the microphone is at eye level, I can indeed hear much crunching.
Yeah, what are you?
Yeah, the sound folks can all hear
You
that.
had lunch too, unlike Robert, man.
Yeah,
Ryan, what were you going to ask me?
I'm telling you, there's something strangely addictive about this.
I believe you.
So the URL you just mentioned, like, does somebody else already have greenspeak.blogspot.com?
Yeah, some frickin' dillweeds with some, I don't know. It's either like an Alan Greenspan thing, because that's like a word used for him, is Greenspeak. That's how he talks.
It's got to be like an
economics.
environmental thing.
Then there's another, there is one that's
Yeah.
environmental. So, yeah.
Jerks.
Yeah, that's what I said.
We're to save the earth, assholes.
Let's throw some games coming in. If you want to keep going through those, and if any other
Okay.
stuff comes up, we can go back and forth.
That's cool. Yeah, let's move on because we do have other games to
Anthony
talk
recently wrote a preview for Demigod. We both saw it here. I saw it again at PAX, and I'm upset because I think that the beta's now out and we didn't get invites, even though
Oh,
Chris
shit.
Taylor himself promised he would hook me up with it.
about. Maybe he's heard our Space Siege rant.
Maybe
No, he seemed pretty cool. I definitely talked to him after that, and he seemed like he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he was concerned about the rant or the reviews or. So Demigod, break it down. It's another one of those games where they're looking for something to call it. I think Chris Taylor's been calling it what's he saying? An action. It's more. What is he saying?
I forgot. He was like,
He's like an action strategy game, I think, is what he described it as. And I looked at it more as it's closer to real-time tactics. I mean, ultimately, the name is not going to matter insofar as you look at it as if you're used to playing RTS games, you'll see it and it'll seem familiar. Except the difference here is that rather than controlling the entire army and building up the units and stuff, you're in control of a single unit, a single heroic unit. And there's an exception to that we'll get to. But so these are the demigods from the title. There are 8 of them, and they're divided along 2 camps. There are some that are called assassins and others that are called generals. And the assassins that they've been showing so far, the big rook character that they've showed over and over again, looks kind of like a giant. It looks kind of like, the character's Muscle Man. I know there's some Japanese name for it that people prefer to call it, but fuck them. It's
Muscle
Muscle
Man,
Man.
yeah.
And there's a guy made of bricks, he's like a giant tower man. It kind of reminds me of that. It's like a Tower of Babel with legs.
it kind of looks like the last boss in Shadow of the Colossus.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So in this case, what happens is you have this board. You can have up. We've every time we've seen it, it's been 3v3.
Yeah.
So you're basically just trying to work your way across this map, and there are different lines of battle and lanes that you can go through, and you have these what they call creeps, and they're just automatically they're spawned by some procedural thing or some rule set rather that just says these are gonna come out at this rate, and they help you. You don't direct them or command them or anything, and they just go out and help you. And you've got control over certain powers. You can stomp things. The rook can uproot these towers that sort of channel energy across the map and then relocate them and gets certain abilities doing that, gets upgrades so that there's like archers that appear in his shoulders and are, raining arrows down on the enemies, and catapults or trebuchets and stuff appear on some of the other, towers that he's got on his body. And for me so far, the problem is that, I mean, I think the draw would be that if you're intimidated by the seeming complexity of an RTS, like, here you go, one unit, you could do that, anyone can do that. But then the loss is that, for me so far, it doesn't seem like it's going to be all that fun to just take that one unit and order it to beat on people or wait for its superpowers to recharge and do those, because that starts to sound a lot like a lot of MMOs, but instead of imagine an MMO world, you're just trying to work across the side of a map and take over their base, break down their towers and stuff. And so, like, let's stop there and get your take on that, Anthony. I know you seem to like that aspect of it more.
Yeah, I thought it played in a lot of ways kind of like it was more akin to like a Diablo game, like a point-and-click action, except that instead of just fighting like mobs on one side like in Diablo, it was like you're running around with an army of your own mobs. And since you couldn't command them, you had to pay attention to the way they moved, because if they were all moving in on a tower, they can't do it on their own, so they need you to go in there and help support them. Or if the enemy demigod comes, it's obvious that you have to like go there. And if you were playing with like other players, since there's usually like on the 3v3 we saw there was 3 lanes of travel, you could like coordinate, so 2 of you move up one channel, and like then they would have to coordinate obviously on their side as well. So I think the demigods have a potential to have a lot of influence in the battle. But like you, I was disappointed with the assassin demigods in the sense that, like, for me, coming from playing so many like strategy games and stuff, I really like wanted to play more of the general demigods that get to control armies. I mean, supposedly I haven't seen them at all.
I found out about the current state of that too, and that had me. So the bright side is I think the game looks fantastic. I like the art direction. The maps are super interesting. And when you zoom out of these battlefields, there's usually some sort of motif to it or something. Like there's the one they call it Snake in Space, and it's basically just like this statue floating in the vacuum of space. And it's a guy holding like a serpent, and the serpent is what you actually fight on. It's like flat on top, but when you zoom out, it's only then that you see the context of where you're having this battle on. But then, like you're saying, the promise was that maybe when you play the general side, things become more interesting, and this way you satisfy both types of players: those that aren't intimidated by the complexity, or even the people who start simple and then want to graduate to the complexity. But actually, the way that the generals are set now, the only difference is that the creeps will attack with you. You're not deciding which ones are spawned, and you can't tell them split over here and here, do a picture movement or whatever. They just, if you go to attack somewhere, they come with you and assist you. And I mean, I told Chris that Chris isn't the designer of the game. I mean, he's part of. What's the situation on this, Jeff?
Well, it was being developed out of house, and I'm just blanking on the name of the company, and I apologize for that.
It's just like he brought him into gas-powered games.
That's right.
So
he brought this team in to do it,
and then it's now they have a deal with Stardock, and so it's going to
publishing deal with those guys. Also, I mean, wasn't they emphasizing sort of the fighting game aspect of it anyway? I mean, they're sort of de-emphasizing that.
It seems that that's the game they want to make. I did get some sense from Chris that there's conflict in the studio, normal kind. I mean,
sure.
Nothing to be alarmed over or anything that indicates anything that's not normal is happening. But there's just a normal disagreement of people that think, like Anthony and I are saying, that, there probably should be something there. And I know Chris is concerned about, well, if it seems too complicated, what do you do with the message? And what I just tried to explain is that, like take a game like Left 4 Dead, for example, where it's being shown over and over again in the most simplistic and accessible terms. You're a human, zombies run at you, you fucking blow them up, and you get scared, or like you pump your fists when you blow a bunch up. At the same time, the game, of course, we know offers the ability to play on the zombie side. It's going to be more complicated. It's going to be difficult. It's going to require total coordination if you hope to succeed, or because otherwise you just run out and you get shot once and you die, you blow up or something. You want to act in concert. But that's the part that they're sort of leaving there. And I was saying, likewise with the fighting, it reminds me of a fighting game where you get Soul Calibur and there's characters like Mitsurugi there, and you can pick that up and play it. And then as you keep playing, or if you're the person who thinks that that's maybe like doesn't offer you enough range, then you have like Voldo characters and Ivy characters with stance shifts and all these other things. And that's also what adds to the ultimate playability, is that you just keep going at it,
Right.
You can pick some things up. So I was definitely thinking if they can work something out where the generals are closer to, an RTT or something, and then you have like the Diablo style for the others, that might be pretty cool. But Yeah, I mean, I'm not writing it off or anything. I think that's my concern right now, is that maybe that's just not engaging enough. So we're going to take another break now?
Right, and then
We are
we're
out of
coming back
tape.
very briefly because I think we're almost out of time here.
Really?
I was told, yes.
Okay, so Far Cry 2.
Or we might
And
just
then
have to say goodbye to
That's
Jeff.
appropriate for the last GFW. Every time there's like the big game
Jeff
that
is
I'm
moving
waiting
far away, and we're gonna cry
to talk about. And
for
Far
2
Cry.
days at least.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so we'll be back with Far Cry and some final thoughts.